Okay, so now we are 2 hours after the application, and we are closely monitoring the surface of the island to see if we can see any lap lines in there. So, as many of you who have done this, you probably just sit there and watch, any kind of lines happen on your surface, and that's what we did. So when it was really wet, we found it really interesting that we could see a lot of lap lines. And here is what I learned from doing this. This is my third time doing this. Do not touch your lap lines. Don't touch them. Don't try to roll over them. Don't try to keep trying to roll them out, because that is the worst thing that you can do. I showed restraint on this time, and my husband Steve, who's behind the camera right now, did the same thing. And so we left it. We could see very, very mild lap lines, and we just left it. And as you can see, they're almost impossibly hard to find. We are super pleased with this. Rolling just back made a big difference. Now, if we turn on certain lights and we move our head in a certain direction, we might be able to see a couple lap lines after 2 hours. But again, the whole thing isn't dried yet, and so I would be very hard pressed to find anything at this point. We are really, really happy with this. One of the things that we did notice on the lap lines that were there when we had a wet coat is that the lap lines were not necessarily where the two overlapped. The lap line was actually in the row in which we rolled, in that where the weight was heavier on the roller, where it kind of extends out, that seemed to be less.
Did you pick it up? It's right behind you.
Yeah. So when we were doing this, and this is how I held it, you didn't see, the lap line actually was evident here. And that is because the weight of the roller pushed the product into the surface and looked drier than on this side. And that kind of speaks to me of where maybe lap lines are happening. It's not about how you overlap them, it's about where the weight of the roller is. And if you have a good amount of product, which we think was the successful part of this, we had a lot of the product on here. We did not skimp. We used every single drop of what we had in our trays, which I would highly recommend because that was really successful for us. But when you see this and the weight of this moving on there, I think that's where you're seeing the lap lines. And so finding balance in when you roll, I think is going to be key. But at this point, we're not seeing any lap lines. We're super, super happy with this. If we wake up tomorrow morning, and the sunshine's throwing, some light through our windows, and then we see the lap lines, then maybe we'll make some decisions at this point, but it's really hard to find them right now. So, for those of you who are really struggling with lap lines on your UTC, I feel your pain. We feel your pain. We have been through this process now 5 times, and we finally came up with a system that worked. Thank you, Rhonda, for the amazing videos that you make on UTC, on flood coats, on everything that you do. It has been the inspiration behind all of this. Thank you, Stone Coat Countertops, for making an amazing product and for all of your customer support. I've made multiple phone calls to them, and to all of the epoxy Facebook world who answer questions gracefully and offer all kinds of help. This is an amazing community, and we're super happy with our project. Have a great day, everybody.